So, hello students, welcome to the Hindu News Analysis by Bajirao IAS Academy. So, in this session, we will discuss all the important and relevant news articles, and they are given in the Hindu newspaper. They are important for both prelims and mains examinations and even for state PSC examinations. Okay, so yesterday I have given you a question. So, the question is the 2018 UPSC previous year question. Okay, so the correct answer for this question is Yay. It is considered as an export. The question is in terms of economy, the visit by foreign nationals to witness the 19th Commonwealth Games in India is amounted to export because when foreigners visit India to watch Commonwealth Games, that amounts to we are earning forex reserves. Okay, so they spend in India, and while they spending in India, so they use their forex reserves. So we are earning the forex reserves, and this of course amounts to the export of goods and services. When we export goods and services, we also earn or we also sell our services to foreigners. In the same way, when foreigners visit India, they will also use their forex reserves to purchase various services. So therefore it amounts to the export of goods or services. Okay, so this is the correct answer. And today's practice question is about the base effect of inflation. See, why I have given this question is because we have several times discussed base effect while discussing the consumer price inflation and wholesale price inflation. I have several times mentioned about the base effect. Okay, so base effect is also very important. Now the question is, a rapid increase in the rate of inflation is sometimes attributed to base effect. Now what is a base effect? Option A, it is the impact of drastic deficiency in supply due to failure of crops. Second, it is the impact of the surge in demand due to rapid economic growth. Option C, it is the impact of price level of previous year on calculation of inflation rate. Option D, none of the above statements. A, D, or C given above is correct in this context. See, this question was asked in the year 2011 by the UPSC. Okay, so therefore solve this question and comment the correct answer in the comment section. Okay, now let's discuss all the important and relevant news articles. They are given in today's Hindu newspaper. So the first article is with respect to India's Quad membership or the Quad grouping. Yesterday we have discussed that on the sidelines of the G7 summit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and other Quad leaders have met and they have discussed about the Russia Ukraine situation and its impact on the developing countries and least developing countries, especially with respect to food security, energy security, and the fertilizer issues. Okay, so in the same way, India as a Quad-led biomanufacturing hub. Okay, so India has the necessary infrastructure and skills also. So therefore, all the Quad countries can lend support to India to make India a Quad-led biomanufacturing hub in the world. The next article is with respect to the pan genome map. So we also discussed several times the genome project, the human genome project or India genome project. Okay, so in the similar lines, the pan genome map was also discussed, and we will try and understand what is a pan genome map and what are the applications of the pan genome map. The third article is what is the open network of digital commerce. This article also we have been discussing from several days. Okay, so what is the open network of digital commerce and what are the applications and why the government has been planning to introduce the open network of digital commerce despite we have a significant e-commerce presence in various sectors. And the fourth article is India and US, they are planning to hike technology cooperation and they are also mulling over the idea of co-production of jet engines. Okay, co-production of jet engines, and this is part of the critical and emerging technologies initiative that was signed between USA and India. Now, the fifth article is about the Namami Gange program. As part of the Namami Gange program, few volunteers were appointed to maintain the cleanliness of river Ganga and also check the pollution levels uh, on river Ganga. So apart from reporting poaching incidents. Okay, so the last article is with respect to stalemate over sharing of Krishna water to continue. This is a bilateral dispute between a water sharing dispute, I would call, between Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. So in this scenario, we will understand what is this dispute, and we will also look at Krishna River and its tributaries. The first article is India as a Quad-led manufacturing hub. Okay, so what this article has been discussing? So this article has been discussing about the Quad member countries. They include Australia, India, Japan, United States, and they set up critical and emerging technology working group to facilitate cooperation. Okay, so this critical and emerging technology working group will is related to developments in critical and emerging technologies, and this also includes biotechnology. Okay, so all the Quad countries coming together have set up a critical and emerging technology working group, and this also covers the biotechnology arena. And the potential for Quad cooperation in biotechnology is insufficiently tapped. Okay, so despite all the countries having significant potential in various domains within biotechnology, but it is insufficiently tapped. Okay, however, the establishment of the Quad led biomanufacturing hub, the Quad led biomanufacturing hub is planned to set up in India, and this will give necessary fillip to enhance this cooperation in the area of biotechnology. Earlier that was insufficiently tapped. Okay, so what is a biomanufacturing? We need to understand the biomanufacturing. See, biomanufacturing uses living systems, living cells, living organisms. They particularly use microorganisms and cell cultures. Okay, so this will produce molecules and materials on a commercial scale for the human benefit, okay, or for the benefit of the mankind. And if you look at the genetic engineering is also uh, part of the biotechnology. Okay, so therefore, this is the definition of biomanufacturing. This biomanufacturing uses living systems, particularly microorganisms and cell cultures, to produce molecules and materials on a commercial scale. Okay, so these have a wide variety of industrial and medical applications across the world. And the Quad and the complementary strength. What are the strengths the Quad countries have, and how they can complement each other's strengths? For example, India has formulated National Biotechnology Development Strategy. Okay, so this National Biotechnology Development Strategy envisions that a country, a global manufacturing hub by the year 2025. Okay, so this strategy envisions India to be a global manufacturing hub by the year 2025. Okay, so however, the strategy also sets a target of 1 billion, 100 billion for the hub. And in this particular context, it is important for us to recognize that India's ambitions require external support. Okay, so India itself cannot become, or India on its own may not be able to become the global biomanufacturing hub. It requires external push, and it also requires external support. And Quad grouping and partner countries would lend the support to India's target of becoming the global biotechnology hub. Okay, so particularly through Quad partners, it will be possible and it will enable its development. Okay, so Quad nations have a complementary strengths. We need to discuss the complementary strengths different Quad nations have, and that how can we leverage those complementary strengths. For example, US has a significant funding capability. US can significantly fund for these biotechnology initiatives. Okay, however, apart from US, Japan, Australia, including US, they have advanced biotechnology innovation ecosystems, and they also have intellectual property rights. Okay, so if you look at India's capabilities or India's strengths, India has a skilled manpower, and it has the potential to provide affordable skill because India's workforce, India have a huge demographic dividend, and India also has the skilled workforce and necessary experiences and expertise in the area now of biotechnology and pharmaceutical industry. So therefore, India could make it more and more affordable because of the skilled manpower along with the other strengths of countries like US, Japan, and Australia. Okay, so these are the respective strengths of these countries which are part of the Quad. However, the existing infrastructure in India, along with the pharmaceutical manufacturing expertise and available workforce, are the strengths on the part of India, and these will help India become a global manufacturing hub by the year 2025. Okay. However, if you look at the cost of manufacturing in India, it is around 33 percentage. Okay. So the overall cost of the manufacturing, the pharmaceutical manufacturing in India, it is around 33 percentage lower compared to the US. Okay. So therefore, India can provide an alternative and affordable alternatives in the arena of biotechnology, okay, and biotechnology research and development. However, India still requires a significant capability and capacity to uplift or to become a world leader in the arena of biotechnology or to become global biotechnology hub. Okay, so however, there is a need to develop the physical infrastructure. Okay, there is a need to develop physical infrastructure for the same. Now apart from this, there is another area that has been identified as a barriers, and there is a need to lower the barriers. See, the areas are boosting the workforce and lowering the existing barriers. Understand, in order to scale up biomanufacturing sector, India needs to uplift the workforce quality. Yes, no doubt we have workforce, and significantly 62 percentage of our total population are in the working age group. Okay, so around 15 to 62 years. Okay, they are working age group. So therefore, India needs to provide more and more skills to its workforce, and that will help uplift its workforce quality. And apart from that, the life science professionals, actually they are lacking access to cutting edge technology, and they also lack training. However, the quad member countries can come forward to ensure that these professionals have cutting edge technology and they can also provide training. Okay, so to address all these challenges, a permanent training facilities can be established in universities around the quad hub. Okay, so with this solution, the above mentioned problem can be achieved successfully. However, along with that, the biotechnology hub, which is set up, which is envisioned by the Quad countries, can also harmonize the language, regulations, and data sharing regarding the biomanufacturing. Okay, so to supply chains, to secure these supply chains. Now, one of the key and crucial aspect is that the supply chain resilience. Okay, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic, the countries in the Indo-Pacific have been looking for this supply chain resilience. So, therefore, the biotechnology hub can also harmonize the language regulation. I mean, language means not language in the literal sense, but it is a flexibility. Okay, so it provides more flexibility, and it provides regulations, and a data sharing will be and data sharing regarding biomanufacturing, and that will help secure supply chains for the quad nations. Okay, and this will also facilitate overall international collaboration and cooperation. Okay, so that will benefit the global as a whole, and that is also in compliance with India's efforts like Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Okay, so finally, the proposed hub in India can capitalize on economic potential of the biomanufacturing industry. Okay, so we have a huge economic potential of our biomanufacturing industry. We have expertise and experiences in the manufacturing and biotechnology sectors as well. So therefore, to address the existing potential and vulnerabilities in the global system, there are several existing and potential vulnerabilities in the global system, and India provides an alternative to address those vulnerabilities, the potential vulnerabilities across the global system. Now, India can become a leading player in the field of biomanufacturing, and it can also help Quad to compete in this key area. Okay, so India can play a very key role, and it can also bring together all the Quad countries in complementing their strengths. Okay, so this will ultimately help India to become a global biotechnology hub. Okay, global biotechnology hub. So this is all about this article, which is given as an editorial. Now the next article is with respect to the pan genome map. Okay, this is with respect to the pan genome map. So before actually understanding the pan genome map, we need to understand what is a genome. Okay, so genome is a blueprint of life, a collection of all the genes and regions between genes they contain in our 23 pairs of chromosomes. Okay, so human genome contains 23 pairs of chromosomes, and chromosomes contains the genetic material. Okay, in human beings it is DNA. Okay, the di deoxyribose nucleic acid. Okay, DNA, deoxyribose nucleic acid. And humans contains 23 pairs of chromosomes, and each chromosome contains the genetic material. Okay, so genome is considered as a blueprint of life, a collection of all the genes and the regions between these genes, and these genes are contained in the chromosomes, the 23 pairs of chromosomes. Okay, now each chromosome is contiguous stretch of a DNA string. Okay, so in each chromosome there is a stretch of a DNA string. Okay, so if you look at the structure of DNA, this is in the double helical structure. Okay, it is in the double helical structure. So in other words, the genome consists of 23 different pairs, because we have a 23 pairs of chromosomes. So in this sense, our genome also consists of 23 different strings. Okay, so now each compound is each is composed of millions of individual building blocks called nucleotide bases, right? So these DNA strings consist of nucleotides as well. So okay, these are the nucleotides. Okay, so these horizontal lines are considered as a nucleotides. The four types of building blocks, they are also known as nucleotides. For example, ATGC, adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. So these are the building blocks of nucleotides. Okay, so the four types of building blocks: adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine, and they are arranged and repeated millions of times. Okay, so they are continuously repeated millions of times, ATGC and ATGC. In the same way, across the nucleotides, they are repeated millions of times in a different combinations to make of our all 23 chromosomes. Okay, now we need to understand, we have understood genome, and genome is a genetic material in chromosomes, and that is made up of uh, nucleotides, and nucleotides are also have a four types of building blocks. They are adenine, thymine, guanine, and cytosine. Now we have to understand genome sequencing. What exactly is genome sequencing? Genome sequencing is actually a method used to determine the precise order of four letters. Okay, so the precise order of these four letters on the nucleotides is known as genome sequencing. Okay, so not just the precise order, and how they are arranged across the chromosomes is known as genome sequencing. Now sequencing of individual genomes, sequencing of each genome will help us understand human diversity at the genetic level, and it will also help us aware of certain diseases, what are the reasons or what are the causes of diseases. So therefore appropriate diagnostic methods can be, you know, found out. And what is a reference genome? We have understood genome sequencing, and we should also understand the reference genome. So when genomes are newly sequenced, for example, this particular genome is a newly sequenced genome. Okay, so this newly sequenced genome, and they compare to the reference map. Okay, so this is called as a reference genome. So already sequenced genome, the newly sequenced genome is compared with the already sequenced genome map or the reference genome map. Okay, so how the newly sequenced genome map is different from the already sequenced genome map. Okay, so therefore we should be able to understand the differences between the two genomes, and we could be able to find out more about, or it will help us understand, or it will help us in our research and development. So okay, so this will help us, the reference genome will help us understand the region of differences between the newly sequenced genome and the reference genome. Okay, and it will also help scientists to discover thousands of genes linked to various diseases. Okay, so invariably in human beings there are several diseases which are linked to the genetic structure or genetic mutations. Okay, so when we have the genome sequencing, or when we done genome sequencing, and when we have a reference genome, that will help us understand genes, they are linked to various diseases, and they will also help us better understand diseases like cancer at the genetic level, and we can also design the novel diagnostic tests or diagnostic methods. Okay, so the reference genome was actually made, or actually uh, researched in the year 2001. Okay, so the reference genome of 2001 was actually 90% complete and contained many gaps and errors. Okay, so the first scientists have come up with a reference genome in the year 2001. However, this is not a complete genome structure, it has many gaps and errors. Now additionally, it was not a representative of all human beings. Okay, so it was the reference genome which that was invented in the year 2001 is not a representative of all human beings. It not represents the diversity across different ethnicities, so therefore it also lags behind because it does not represent all the human beings. And apart from this, since then the reference genome map has been refined and improved to have a complete end-to-end sequences of all the 23 human chromosomes. Okay, now over a period of time, the reference genome, which has several gaps and errors, has been refined. Okay, so it has refined and improved and to complete the end-to-end sequences of all 23 human chromosomes. Now human chromosomes consists of the genetic material. The DNA is part of the chromosomes. Okay, so although the complete and error free, the finished reference genome map does not represent all human diversity. Okay, it still does not represent all human beings or all human diversity. For example, there are different ethnicities, Indians, South Asians, or African people. Okay, so and Europeans also. So there is a variance or there is a difference between the composition of these genetic material. Since it does not represent the diversity, it has, it is though, even though it is complete and error free, it has not represent all genetic diversities, so therefore it cannot addresses various genetic diseases in different groups of people. Now what is a pangenomic map? We need to understand the pangenomic map. So unlike earlier reference genome which is linear in sequence, the pangenomic map is a graph. Okay, so earlier it was actually the linear sequence of genetic material. Now it is a pangenomic map is a graph. Okay, so the graph of each chromosome is like a bamboo stem. Okay, it is like a bamboo stem. Now with the nodes, these are the nodes, and these nodes where a stretch of sequences of all 42 individuals converge at similar locations. Okay, so the stretch of the sequences will converge at a different sequence at a different levels, and with the internodes of varying lengths representing the genetic variations among these groups or individual groups. Okay, so it ultimately converts similarities and also the differences, variations in the genetic makeup of different individuals. Okay, so it is represented in a graph format among the individuals with a different ancestries. Now why pangenomic map is important? It is important, or a complete or error free human pangenomic map will help us understand differences and explain human diversity better. Okay, so it will help us understand the differences between different human beings, or it will also help us explain the diversities in different parts of the world in a better way. It will also help us understand the genetic variations in some populations, and these genetic variations also result in underlying health conditions. Okay, the pangenomic map also have applications like drug manufacturing or drug making, and will also help us understand the genetic driven diseases like cancer. Okay, so this is all about genome sequencing, reference genome, and pangenome map. Now in this context we need to understand the Genome India project. Okay, so the Genome India project, now this project was conducted under the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. Now we'll understand this reference genome for India. So, a national genome sequencing project of around 10,000 Indians. This is Genome India project. Now, it enhances the capacity building and network because it provides training to manpower. They will handle a large genetic data sets and other resources across different institutions in India. Okay, so this will help us identifying the disease gene identification. Okay, so the catalog of all 10,000 individuals genetic variations in Indians help identify diseases causing genes. Okay, so there are different, for example, the Parkinson's disease that is also caused by a gene, and also various cancers like bone cancer, blood cancer, so they are also caused by these genes, and it will help us understand the diseases causing genes, and it will also help us it will be useful as a genetic basis for adverse effects and response to drugs. Okay, so this study will help pave the way for understanding why some people respond to some drugs, why some people adverse reaction depending upon their genetic background. Okay, so the genetic background also influences the immune response of an individual to a particular drug. Okay, so this overall study and the overall project will help us understand why people respond to some drugs in a different way. Okay, so resources for large and cheaper genetic studies. As of now, we do not have any genetic resources to undertake any further studies. Okay, once we are coming up with the Genome India project, this will help us as a resource for large and cheaper genetic studies. Okay, resources generated will help build arrays and technologies for large scale cheaper genetic studies in India. Now, please understand this is an initiative of Department of Biotechnology, Ministry of Science and Technology and Government of India, and this is conducted under the aegis of Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. Okay, so don't confuse the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research with ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research. Okay, it is conducted by Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. Okay. The next article is with respect to the open network of digital commerce. Okay, open network of digital commerce. So now open network of digital commerce is regularly in news, and it is very important for us to understand what is open network of digital commerce, because this is not just important for prelims, but this is also important for mains examinations, because this provides an opportunity for the retail sellers who are actually not part of the big e-commerce chains, but they can easily access the open network of digital commerce and they can sell their products across the country. Okay, so open network of digital commerce primarily provides a level playing field. Okay, level playing field between all the retail sellers and buyers also. Okay, inherently with the e-commerce sites there are several problems, the inherent problems. For example, the food delivery apps like Zomato and Swiggy, so they have been charging higher commissions. Okay, so they have been charging the higher commissions, and in fact the e-commerce giants like Amazon and Flipkart, so what they are doing is they are favoring few retail sellers which they have stakes or indirect stakes. Okay, and so in this context please understand what is open network of digital commerce. Now the union government is looking to formally launch the open network of digital commerce this year, and this open network of digital commerce will democratize the e-commerce space, and it will also provide alternatives to proprietary e-commerce sites. Okay, what are the proprietary e-commerce sites? Proprietary e-commerce sites are privately owned e-commerce sites. Okay, so the government of India has already urged companies to join the open network of digital commerce platform. Okay, however, the major e-commerce platforms like Amazon and Flipkart, they are reluctant to be part of the open network of digital commerce. Okay, open network of digital commerce. Now understand what is open network of digital commerce. Now the government wants to change the fundamental structure of the e-commerce from the platform centric model to an open network model. Okay, so what is a platform centric model? For example, Amazon is a platform centric model, Flipkart is a platform centric model. So the government wanted to transform or the e-commerce space from the platform centric model to an open network model where all the buyers and sellers can easily access all the platforms in a single network. Okay, so the open network of digital commerce is modeled after unified payments interface UPI. Okay, so the project is seen as a success by many. Now we know how UPI works. For example, if you have a wallet, the phone pay, Paytm, and if you have a different bank accounts, or if you have opened bank accounts in different banks also, you can have a single UPI account and you can have an easily transact between these banks. Okay, so you just have a single UPI account and that can be used in various wallets, and that can be used to integrate different bank accounts and also the bank accounts you have in different banks. And the open network of digital commerce will also work in the same line of UPI. Okay, so it will democratize and it will provide alternatives to proprietary e-commerce sites. Okay, so this is an open network. The UPI project allows people to send and receive money irrespective of payments platforms. Okay, irrespective of PhonePe or Paytm, wherever you have an account. So the UPI project allows people to send and receive money irrespective of payments platforms, okay, on which they are actually registered. Similarly, the government of India wants to ensure that the buyers and sellers of the goods in the e-commerce market, they have to transact regardless of platforms on which they have registered. With the open network of digital commerce, what generally happens, if you are registered as a buyer in Amazon, you can easily purchase things from a Flipkart. Okay, you can easily purchase things from a Flipkart from a certain seller. Okay, from a certain seller. Okay, so this is known as the open network of digital commerce, right? So the government wants to ensure that the buyers and sellers of goods in e-commerce market can transact regardless of platforms. Okay, so there is no platform type of a restriction. It would be a platform centric model to a open network model. Okay, so why Center has been pushing for the open network of digital commerce? So the government believes that the open network of digital commerce will put an end to the domination of e-commerce market. Okay, so there is a huge domination of the e-commerce market in the country. Okay, the open network of digital commerce will put the end to the domination of e-commerce market. For example, the food delivery market is dominated by few companies like Swiggy, Zomato, and online e-commerce deliveries are dominated by Amazon and Flipkart. Okay, so all these arenas have been dominated by a very large platforms. However, along with that, it says the e-commerce market is currently broken into silos. Okay, silos means it has no convergence. Okay, it has no convergence and it is differentiated. Okay, so it is operated in silos and it is very often dominated by the private platforms as well. Now, Amazon and Flipkart, for instance, have been accused of promoting certain seller entities and which they have stakes or which they have indirect stakes. Along with that, the food delivery apps such as Swiggy, Zomato, they also been accused of charging high commissions for the sellers. Okay, so because of all these reasons, the government has been planning to introduce the open network of digital commerce. With the open network of digital commerce, it will provide a level playing field between all the sellers and it will also reduce the commissions on the part of the high commissions or the excessive commissions on the part of the consumers. So therefore making the products more and more affordable for the people. Okay, so if small retailers are able to access the e-commerce platforms like open network of digital commerce, it will also enhance their livelihoods and it will provide more and more employment opportunities for different delivery partners. Okay, so on this part, the delivery is the responsibility of the seller. Okay, seller who is registered in the open network of digital commerce. Okay, so the government has also been urging different companies to register in open network of digital commerce, and different companies have also been showing interest in the in joining the open network of digital commerce. Now, in this context, we need to understand what are the benefits of the open network of digital commerce. Now, this is an open interoperable system of open network of digital commerce, and this reimagines digital commerce, and it will also enables platform agnostic or no. I mean, it do not give importance to the platform. Rather, this is an open network, and the platform agnostic transactions between sellers and buyers. Okay, so the features of open network of digital commerce include the non-rivalrous, non-exclusive public infrastructure. For example, there are different e-commerce sites like Amazon, Flipkart. Okay, so they are very often go for they are very often rivalrous. Okay, so the open network of digital commerce is non-rivalrous, non-exclusive public infrastructure. Secondly, the voluntary and flexibility adoption of the open network of digital commerce, and the third advantage is its open specifications. It is open for buyers and sellers, and fourth, equal access for both buyers and sellers, and it provides a level playing field. Whether a large retail seller or a small retail seller, it provides equal access. Now, how will it will help? your businesses. Okay, so it will help in creation of a level playing field in digital commerce. This is the first benefit. Secondly, it will help us in the reduction of customer acquisition costs. Okay, so there will be no customer acquisition costs. And third, there will be a reduction of monopolistic practices. For example, a few e-commerce giants have the monopoly or they are enjoying the monopoly, and open network of digital commerce will reduce monopolistic practices by few e-commerce giants, and it will also help us in establishing seamless integration across different supply chains within the e-commerce sphere. Okay, so the open network of digital commerce, the nuts and bolts. Now we need to understand the open network of digital commerce core aim is to enable e-commerce for small sellers and small businesses. Okay, so this will provide a level playing field for small investors also. Okay, so there are parallels have been drawn between unified payment interface, meaning it could do what UPI has done for the online transactions or digital payments. The open network of digital commerce will also do for the e-commerce. Okay, now customers can access sellers on ONDC through any app that is integrated with the network. Okay, so the customers can have access to sellers on open network of digital commerce through any app that is integrated with the network. And secondly, sellers will handle deliveries through tie-ups with the logistic firms. For example, a particular individual is registered as a seller in the open network of digital commerce, and he can have a tie-up with, okay, so he can, this individual can have a tie up with the logistic firm. Okay, so he can, with the help of logistic firm, directly deliver to the consumer. Okay, directly deliver to the consumer. And few days back we have already discussed that India Post partnered with the open network of digital commerce. Okay, India Post also registered with the open network of digital commerce as a logistic firm. Okay, so now India Post will also deliver the goods as part of the open network of digital commerce. Now, open network of digital commerce will also have embedded services like ledgers and payment processes. And these are all the key aspects of the open network of digital commerce. Okay, now let's discuss the next important news article. See, this news article is with respect to India and US relations. Okay, India and US relations. Now, so India and US are discussing the possibilities of co-producing jet engines. Okay, so USA has been planning to transfer technology of jet engines. Okay, so along with the jet engines, India and US have also been discussing the possibility of co-producing long-range artillery and infantry vehicles. Okay, so both India and USA have signed the initiative for critical and emerging technologies. So please remember this. This is very important for prelims. The initiative on critical and emerging technologies is signed between which of the following countries? So it is signed between India and USA. Okay. Now, enhancing cooperation of India and USA under initiative on critical and emerging technologies. Right. The considerable focus was given on the ways and means to enhance defense industrial cooperation that include technology partnership, long-term research and development, and improving the supply chain security. Okay, so countries like India and USA have been particularly focusing on the supply chain resilience and supply chain reliability. Okay, so these countries don't want to depend on very few countries to achieve the supply chain resilience because of the tense geopolitical situations. Okay, so therefore the key focus areas of India and US include defense and industrial cooperation, and that includes technology partnership, long term research and development, and improving the supply chain security. Okay, so the proposals which were discussed include jointly produce jet engines for India's future indigenous jets. Okay, so as of now, USA has not delivered any key or significant technology. Sorry. So as of now, USA has not delivered any key or significant technology to India, but India and USA have been discussing jointly produce jet engines for India's future indigenous jets. Okay, so for which the General Electric company has been competing with Safran of France and Rolls Royce of UK. Okay, so India has been discussing with these countries about the jet engine transfer. Okay, as of now, 4 countries make jet engines for planes, and India will become the fifth country if this has implemented, or if US has agreed to transfer the jet engine technology to India. Okay, for India's future programs, future jet engine building projects. Okay, so please remember the initiative on critical and emerging technologies. Okay, so the next article is with respect to the guardians of the Ganga task force. Okay, so this is the volunteers which are part of the national Ganga initiative or the Namami Gange initiative. Okay, so the Ganga Prahari, they are actually the guardians. So this is a task force of volunteers and constituted as part of the National Mission for Clean Ganga and Wildlife Institute of India. Okay, so under the National Mission for Clean Ganga and Wildlife Institute of India, the Namami Gange program will cover around 8.61 billion square kilometers of river basin. Okay, so since 2014, Namami Gange has aimed to clean river and the river ecosystem. Okay, so because it aims to cover not just the river ecosystem but also the villages around this river, and it is home to the 40% of India's population and 52 million and 2,500 species of flora and fauna. Okay, so the Ganga river is itself habitat to, I mean, habitat for 520 million species of flora and 2,500 species of fauna. Now, United Nations in December 2002 rightly recognized the initiative of Ganga Prahari or the National Mission for Clean Ganga has rightly recognized this as a top 10 world restoration flagship involved in reviving the natural world. Okay, so a project that has seen a central government has been is planning to invest around $5 billion to rejuvenate the clean Ganga. Okay, so the overall objective of the project is to rejuvenate the Ganga, and the task force, which is now over 4,000 volunteers, and they spread across all the Ganga river basins. Okay, so they spread across 100 districts and including the states of Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Jharkhand, Bihar, and West Bengal. Okay, so what are their roles and responsibilities? They keep a check on river protection, and they also prevent people from littering on the river banks or inside the river, and also they report poaching to the authorities. Okay, now, the National Mission for Clean Ganga or Namami Gange was launched in the year 2014-15 for the rejuvenation of Ganga. Okay, so this is about the Namami Gange program. Okay, so the objective of the Namami Gange program is conservation mission of clean Ganga and rejuvenation of clean Ganga. And it is not just about the rejuvenation of Ganga, but also its tributaries with an issued funding of around 20,000 crore rupees. Okay, overall 344 projects have been sanctioned at a cost of 29,990 crores. Now 147 projects have been completed and remaining are under execution phase. Okay, so this is all about the Namami Gange program and Ganga Prahari, the guardians of river Ganga. Now, so reviving the Ganga river. Okay, reviving the Ganga river. So what are the programs which are planned as part of the Namami Gange program? So they include the modernization of ghats and crematoriums on the banks of river Ganga, and the development of sewerage infrastructure and the treatment on the river Ganga, and also the afforestation or tree plantation across the banks of each sides of the river Ganga. Okay, so when it comes to pollution in river Ganga, the main problem is indiscriminate release of sewage water or urban liquid waste and urban solid waste into the river Ganga, and that is major cause of pollution of river Ganga. So therefore, setting up sewage water treatment plants will help reduce the pollution or will reduce the polluted water entering into the river Ganga. Okay, so there are several projects which were taken up as part of the river Ganga. They include the drain project and the interceptor drain project, trash skimmers, and preserving the biodiversity are sub parts of the river Ganga project to revive the Ganga river. Okay, so Namami Gange also envisions the involvement of youth in the program. Okay, so the overall objectives of the Namami Gange project include develop a cadre of trained and highly motivated local youth. Okay, so they take up envisaged activities under the project. And the second objective is establish institutional mechanism at different levels of the project and support guidance and transparency. And the third objective is sensitization and mobilization support of local youth and villages pertaining to the prevention of pollution of river Ganga and measures for its overall conservation. The fourth objective is generating awareness and educate the target audiences about the consequences and impact of polluted Ganga river. Okay, so youth can play a very key role in generating awareness among the people, among the masses. Okay, so they make it a mass movement, Jan Andolan, and that will help create awareness among the people and will reduce pollution of river Ganga. And it will also provide information on existing government schemes and government programs and services pertaining to the construction of toilets, water harvesting, and conservation of clean Ganga. So, when you involve youth in these programs, they can bring behavioral change in the community. Okay, so this will also help us in community mobilization in conservation and protection of river Ganga. So, this is all about the Namami Gange program and also the Prahar, okay, the guardians of river Ganga. The next article is with respect to stalemate over sharing of Krishna water continues. Okay, so this is with respect to the dispute between or a disagreement between the states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana over the sharing of Krishna river water. Now, in the year 2014, both the states were bifurcated, and the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act mandates the setting up of Krishna River Water Management Board. And the Krishna River Water Management Board will decide the water sharing between Andhra Pradesh and Telangana over the Krishna River. Okay, so recently Telangana disagreed the sharing pattern of 34 to 66. Okay, this is a sharing pattern between Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. So 34 percentage of the river will be river water will be utilized by Telangana, and 66 percentage of river water will be utilized by Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so Telangana has disagreed with this pattern of river sharing. Okay, so in this context, we need to understand. So after the disagreement, this matter has been referred to the Ministry of Jal Shakti for the decision. Okay, now in this context, we need to understand where through which states the river Krishna actually flows. Okay, so river Krishna originates in the state of Maharashtra at Mahabaleshwar. Okay, at Mahabaleshwar. Now the river Krishna flows from uh, Maharashtra and then Karnataka and then Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, and in Andhra Pradesh it merges with the Bay of Bengal. Okay, now in this context, the right bank tributaries of river Krishna include Koyna, Panchaganga, Ghataprabha, Malaprabha, Tungabhadra. Okay, so both Tunga and Bhadra rivers merge together form Tungabhadra river. Okay, so Tungabhadra river is also a tributary of river Ganga, and Krishna river is also a favorite topic of UPSC, and they very often ask about Tungabhadra river and on the banks of I mean the city which located on the banks of the Tungabhadra river, etc. Okay, so the major right bank tributaries include Koyna, on which the Koyna Dam is located, that is seismologically active or very sensitive, and Koyna Dam, Panchaganga, Ghataprabha, Malaprabha, and Tungabhadra. Okay, so if you look at the the left bank tributaries on River Ganga include Bhima, Dindi, Halia, Musi, Munneru. So, okay, so all these rivers are right bank tributaries on river Krishna. Okay, so please also remember the Nagarjuna Sagar Dam is located on river Krishna in the state of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Okay, so both Sri Shailam Dam and Nagarjuna Sagar Dam are located or on the river Krishna. Okay, so this is all about river Krishna and dispute between Andhra Pradesh and Telangana over the river water sharing. Okay, so these are all important news articles for today's discussion of the Hindu newspaper. Okay, so thank you.